What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Boyz Podcast, episode 13. We're going to have all of us here. Not all of us are here at the moment. Buddha will be joining us. He's doing school stuff. But Carl's here. Delby's here. Screw topics. We're done. Today is going to be part one of our week one previews for the 2020 NFL season. No one get COVID, please. So, yeah, we're going to start off with the opener. On September 10th, the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Houston Texans. Either one of y'all can go.
Go ahead, Carl.
All right. Big offseason for the Chiefs. Spent a lot of money this offseason for the
Ain't that the truth?
decade and a half. At the end of the day, they're Super Bowl champions for a reason. They're probably one of the best rosters. Definitely one of the best offenses in the league. Having Houston come into Kansas City the first Thursday of the season, no preseason, really limited time in camp. I don't see a scenario where Houston wins this game. I really don't.
No.
That's about sums it up, actually. I mean, Kansas City drafted well.
It's hard to not draft well when you don't really need anything.
Right. It's really easy to draft best player available. Not enough teams do that.
No, not at all.
Their first pick was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's going to have a gigantic year, more than likely.
For the people that have not drafted in your fantasy leagues yet, pick that dude up.
Quickly.
Who picked him up in our league?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Luke?
Probably
Maybe it was Luke.
because he drafted like 37 straight running backs.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, it's better than Kurtner drafting Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. And yes, Kurtner, I'm exposing you on the podcast. You're welcome.
Kurtner's been exposed.
Good.
But, yeah, honestly, Houston lost a lot.
Bag of
DeAndre
potato chips.
gave away a lot.
I'm about to say they didn't lose them. They gave them away for a bag of potato chips and a half-drinking bottle of soda.
Receivers in the league. Houston, and they only had 5 draft picks this season, and they weren't good.
Well, yeah, because they traded them all away.
Yeah, their draft picks were not good. Their number 1 pick was Ross Blacklock in the second round, who may end up not even starting.
Jesus.
Dumpster
fire.
I have Kansas City 31-17 to open the season.
All right, Delby.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kansas City's going to win the game. I mean, they didn't really lose anybody huge, I don't think.
I mean, honestly, like, they'd be winning this game no matter who came in there.
Very true. But
especially since
Texans,
Kansas City is allowing 22% capacity for fans for the opener, too.
Yeah. But with the Texans, yes, they lost DeAndre Hopkins, but they still have Deshaun Watson. David Johnson, yes, injury prone, but has a lot of potential, I think.
Yes.
I don't think Houston's going to be as bad of a team as many people think. I definitely think Bill O'Brien should be fired. I think he's just not the coach for Houston, and I think if Deshaun Watson gets a chance and he's continuing to be coached, then he needs to leave. But, I mean, yeah, Carl basically touched on everything. I like Kansas City. I think they're favorites, Super Bowl favorites definitely still. I mean, they got the best quarterback in the league. Yeah, so I see a 42-20 victory for Kansas City.
42-20? Yeah, y'all touched on it. They didn't really lose anything. Obviously, the only person they really lost was Kendall Fuller, who went back to Washington. Carl brought up the money. Travis Kelce extended, Chris Jones extended, and we all know about Patrick Mahomes' big-ass contract.
Yes.
They added Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the draft with the 32nd overall pick, with their starter opting out due to COVID. Edwards-Helaire is going to have a field day in that offense.
And he's a small guy.
Can run people over, though, too.
This game is obviously a rematch of that ridiculous divisional round game in January where Houston blew a 24-0 lead and Kansas City put up 50 straight.
That Houston probably shouldn't have lost.
No, but it's Houston.
But it's Houston, and they found a way to win or lose.
As far as Houston, on the other hand, pray for Deshaun Watson. I know I keep saying bag of potato chips, but here's what they really traded Hopkins for. David Johnson, a 2020 second, I don't even remember who that pick was, and a 2021 fourth.
Not even a first round, dude.
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
They traded for Brandon Cooks from LA. Poor Brandon Cooks, that dude gets traded every offseason. The wide receiver trio there is now Cooks, Will Fuller, who can't stay healthy if his life depended on it, and Kenny Stills, who came over in that Miami trade for Laramie Tunsil last year.
And Randall Cobb.
Yeah,
right.
big oof. Offensive line for Houston, we've talked about this on a podcast before. It sucks.
As forever.
Defense is aging. As good as J.J. Watt is, he can't stay on the field. They don't really have much secondary-wise besides Justin Reed. It's just... I just don't see how they're going to stop anybody, especially in this game. And then you got the coaching talent. You got Bill O'Brien and then Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Talent on the field, as we've discussed, there's no competition. Chiefs have a better quarterback, run game, all offensive line, receivers, defense, special teams. Across the board, they're better.
Water boy.
I think Houston keeps this close in the first quarter or so, but this is a blowout. Kansas City 45, Houston 20.
And
We're close, Biggie. You're close in our predictions.
Just to wind this out, Vegas currently has Kansas City minus 10, over under at 55.
All right. Game number 2.
Going to be such a good game.
The Philadelphia Eagles traveling to FedEx Field to face the Washington football team.
I didn't know that's where we were going. Give me a second. I'm just going to let Delby run.
I'll talk first.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm letting him run with this.
I'm very excited. I'm very glad it's our first game. We usually open up with the Redskins anyway, but I don't know. I'm a little nervous about it just because of last year's performance when we played them in Week 1. We were down, I'm pretty sure, 21-0, and then came back and won the game.
You guys came back. That was the play where Vernon Davis had that ridiculous touchdown.
Yeah.
So I'm a little nervous just about how our offense goes with their defense and with them picking up Chase Young and all that. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think, like I said, I think we added speed to our receiving core. Got rid of Aguilar, which thank God. But and then Washington, they're not good. I think they'll finish last in the division, but I mean they're on the come up, and I think it's going to be a tough Week 1 game for us. But I think we're at home, correct?
No,
we're away.
Yeah,
okay,
you're away in Washington.
I mean I think it's going to be a close game. Then I think the final score, 24-17 Philly. I think it's going to be close. I really do.
Cool.
But yeah, I think defensively we'll be fine because of their offense. I think we'll be locked up on Scary Terry, but yeah, just a Week 1, coming into Week 1 with, like Carl said earlier, not a lot of time to. You've only really scrimmaged your own team, so I think we're gonna come out not firing on cylinders. So I think we'll be slow at first, but second half, we'll get up and win the game.
To be honest, I really don't think anyone's going to be coming out firing on cylinders.
That's what I was getting ready to say. I don't think there's going to be a lot of flat first quarter. The first week of the season.
Carl, go ahead, because I'm the one that has all the details, so I'll go last on all of these.
That's fine. Philadelphia this offseason. They didn't make a whole lot of noise this offseason with much that they did. They broke the defense.
Except for that one thing.
Except for that one thing they did, but we're going to get there. They brought in some defense with Nicole Roby-Coleman, which is good because that secondary got abused last season.
It's been getting abused for years.
They brought back Jason Peters after Brandon Brooks' season ended. I'm sorry, Delby.
Okay.
I didn't want to say it.
It's okay. I understand.
Jason Peters is going to play guard, from what I heard, though.
That's what I saw.
I don't know what to think of that, honestly.
It's a different skill set for sure.
It'll be weird. It'll be weird for him.
Buddha's not in here to set us all straight on offensive linemen, but it's a different skill set.
Yes, it is.
As far as the draft goes, Jalen Reagor, who at the time I don't think was the best. Don't think it was the best person you could have taken right there, but
I do. I didn't at first, but now I do.
The pick grew on me a lot over the last. It's crazy.
Same.
4 months ago.
Yeah, I know. It feels like forever ago.
Lord. And then second round.
Oh boy.
Jalen Hurts.
At the time, I crapped on your organization more than you know.
I still kind of crap on this a little bit. Just.
It's a fair pick, and I get why, because they're self-aware of the Carson Wentz situation.
Yes. We get that out of the way before Buddha gets in here.
Yeah,
yes, although Carson Wentz had 3 troubles, it's okay.
Exactly, that's why I wanted to get through that before he got here.
Having injury concerns playing professional sport isn't necessarily something that's a bad thing. It's
See,
kind of
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've told Dobie this. Buddha better pray to God that Dak Prescott does not get hurt.
Oh no, he better pray. I mean, it's on if it does. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, my game prediction. I got Philadelphia 27-13 over the Washington football team.
Yeah, this is the kind of the first Sunday of the year because it's on the list in that order. I have it in here: the Eagles and the damn Washington team with no name.
Right. And to touch on Washington, they did take Chase Young, who it really can't miss.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to do something stupid and not take Chase Young. Honestly enough.
Yeah, and trade down for the pick or something.
Yeah.
That would definitely be a Dan Snyder move.
We don't even need to talk about Dan Snyder anymore.
No. We're not going to mention it on here, but hashtag sell the team.
Sell the team.
As far as
go ahead, Ian.
As far as the Eagles, Delby touched on getting rid of Dropsy's Nelson Aguilar. Who that's not the first time we're going to mention his name. We'll mention his name later when we get to Vegas. They signed Javon Hargrave from the Steelers to help bolster that defensive tackle group, which is fantastic, by the way. They lost safety Malcolm Jenkins, who went back to New Orleans. Thanks, appreciate it. They drafted Jalen Reagor and Jalen Hurts, we've covered. They're led by Carson Wentz, obviously, and they also went out and got all-pro cornerback Darius Slay to bolster that ridiculous, awful secondary. Washington? Oh, God. So they hired Ron Rivera, former Panthers coach, who I thought was an excellent hire. Yeah, what's up, guys? We're back. Just a little technical difficulty things that we seem to have every week. Going back into Washington, they hired Ron Rivera as their new head coach. Good hire. I thought he got done dirty in Carolina at the end of the year. They should have let him finish it out. But then again, who didn't get done dirty in Carolina this past offseason? We'll get to that in a little bit.
Sorry, Biggie. Yeah.
And then it all went to S-word. They got rid...
But let's not talk about the Panthers. Let's talk about the matchup we all want to talk about, which is the Redskins and the Eagles.
Washington football team. They finally got...
I got to get out of that habit.
They finally got rid of the Redskins name after years of scrutiny. Then a breaking story from the Washington Post dropped about the sexual harassment that took place in the facility. They didn't name a team name and just keeping it as the Washington football team.
That was the definition of a corruption.
Yes. They added Chase Young. Obviously, he was the best player in the draft, in my opinion. The only reason he got to them was because the Bengals needed a quarterback. They signed cornerback Kendall Fuller from the Chiefs, who rejoins there. Best story of the offseason is Alex Smith. Easily the best of the offseason. And Booty's gone.
I love that story.
Yeah, gruesome leg injury.
Nice.
Yeah, we don't talk about him.
No.
The two Alex Smith is a great story, man. It is a fantastic story. They traded for Panthers quarterback Kyle Allen. Thank you. Last year's first rounder obviously is the starting quarterback Dwayne Haskins. Honestly, I don't think this game is close. The Eagles outclassed Washington at almost every single level. Coaching, defense, offense. Defense, as of right now, Washington's defense is still very unproven. Special teams, they're better. And barring a miracle, the Eagles walk out 1-0. Eagles 38, Washington 7.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
All right, guys.
Vegas, Philadelphia, 6-point favorite, over-under at 44.5. Which is weird that you're only a 6-point favorite.
Very.
It's because I'm telling you, we don't play good week 1. We never do. Until after halftime. Then we wake up. It's weird.
The week 1 in Vegas is always very weird anyway, because they're just picking at straws about who's going to be good.
So. For the main part, yeah.
Buddha, what's your score prediction?
He's not here.
For the Eagles.
He's here.
Eagles and the Reds. For the Eagles and the Washington football team.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I don't like this hesitation.
28-14 Eagles.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
FYI, I cannot see your face.
I was going to jump out the window if he would have said Washington was going to win. That's what was about to happen.
It depends on if Chase Young gets 9 sacks in the game, which I don't think he will.
Jesus.
Or unless every single time he gets a sack, he gets a strip sack and picks it up himself and takes it. So,
which is very possible.
Hey, or they could throw it to their new starting tight end, Logan Thomas.
Right.
That's right.
Logan Thomas and old Jeremy Sprinkle battling it out.
Apparently,
your camera's off,
Logan
by
has
the
the
way.
upper hand there.
Yeah.
Which by the way, Logan Thomas,
Never
multiple time TJ Maxx customer.
Yep.
That's very right. That's very right.
We don't talk about that nonsense.
Spends money every single time that him and his wife come in there.
Hey, he's probably got a mansion though, so that's probably why he's got to keep putting furniture in.
Yeah.
Buddha,
With
just
these
so you know, your
contracts,
camera's off, bro.
No, it's not.
It is for me.
We just can't see you. As long as we can hear you, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's all I care about.
Okay, that's fine. Our next game, this one is intriguing. This is actually the one I have the most notes on, believe it or not. The Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots.
Oh, boy.
Any one of y'all can take the floor because I'm going last on all these because I have all the details and stuff.
Buddha, go first.
Go for it.
Sorry, say the matchup again. It kind of blurted out.
It is the Miami at New England.
Miami, New England. Dude, I think it's going to be where we finally figure out whether or not Bill Belichick can do it without Brady and whether or not Brady can do it without Belichick. So, I like the quarterback situation in New England. I think Cam Newton, the things that he's doing in camp, he has the same Cam personality, but it's not quite that I'm better than you. It's more like I've got something to prove, which I like, and I like how Bill Belichick's letting him be himself and be flamboyant, dance, do like the whole jam boogie thing he did in practice, which is Bill Belichick usually doesn't let players do that kind of thing in practice. It's very to the point. It's kind of like how Salem does it, if I'm being honest, not trying to compare, but it's just very clean cut to the point. Just go out there, do your job. Apparently the way Bill Belichick runs things, he does fundamentals every single day. So with him, I don't think there's going to be a decrease. Everyone's talking about this is the fall of the Patriots, it's the fall of the dynasty. They could have been if they wouldn't have had a quarterback situation like they had a while back, but they solved that. Cam Newton's their guy, and I think he's only going to go up from here. I don't think he's going to regress at all from when he was in Carolina.
Just LOL at the people that thought Jared Stidham was going to beat out Cam Newton.
For real, dude.
Yeah,
dude, but I mean, hey, you never know.
Well, considering he's been pulled from basically all first and second string duties in training camp, he's not even going to be the backup.
Out by Brian Hoyer currently. Oh, and slightly off-topic breaking news: the Bucs are boycotting their game on Thursday.
No
Wow.
way.
Well, wait, who is?
The Bucs.
No way.
And the Bucs is in Milwaukee?
Yeah.
So would it be 3-2? Or would it just be no game?
I guess it depends on how crappy the Magic want to be.
So basically, what you're saying
they'll
is
probably have a reschedule.
basically what you're saying is this series is going to go longer. Miami's going to have to wait longer, and we're going to be at a disadvantage because we haven't played in like a week and a half.
I agree.
Yes, but coaches don't hate rest. So
Well, no,
Right.
they don't. But I'm
I
just
agree what
saying,
you're
like, I mean, fully, I kind of expected this. All right, on topic again.
Okay.
Buddha,
Go to redone.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done, brother.
what is your
Alright.
score prediction?
I think that they're gonna pretty much just run over the Dolphins. I think it might be 21-7, 28-7.
Okay.
I just don't foresee the Dolphins really lighting up. I mean, they had Devontae Parker. I mean, he's pretty solid at receiver. But I mean, who do they have at quarterback?
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yes, and as we already know, he comes in, does the job well, wins games, but then it's like
Then he falls off a cliff.
falls off a cliff. Granted, he's never really been surrounded with a team full of talent.
Right.
And I'm not saying the Dolphins are a team full of talent. So it's exactly why I think that New England's going to just run all over them.
Yeah. I was actually leaning towards if this game was in Miami, Miami would win.
Really?
Yeah.
Of course, the Dolphins are going to beat the Patriots in Miami. New England can't win down there.
Yeah, Miami. But no, I do have New England 24-17. As Buddha said, adding Cam, I don't think this organization takes a very big step back if they do it all. I mean, you have the greatest coach to ever coach at any NFL team. They added. Now, granted, the New England did lose half their defense in free agency or opt out.
Yep.
But you're playing a very unproven,
Young
Miami team. They added defense in the first 3 rounds of the draft, and then went back-to-back tight end and kicker in New England.
Yeah.
The main story of Miami this offseason was, of course, when they drafted Tua at 5. Tua's not going to have any impact in this game. It shouldn't have any impact this season. Doesn't need to. Either let Ryan Fitzpatrick win you games or let Ryan Fitzpatrick be very bad. Yeah, as I said, New England 24-17. Vegas has New England 6.5-point favorites, over under at 43.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think New England and Cam are getting overlooked a ton this offseason.
The fact that you just said the Patriots are getting overlooked scares the crap out of me.
I know, which is not good. But I don't think I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll win Super Bowl or anything like that. But
Right.
I mean, yes, they picked up Cam, but it's also concerning they didn't really add any weapons at the wide receiving core, if I'm right. I'm pretty sure. And then, like Carl said, they lost a lot of their defense. So, yes, I do think they'll regress. I think it'll be very close with Buffalo for who wins the division. I don't know. I like Miami. I think they're on the come up. I don't think Miami's going to be in the run for the division, but they had a good offseason. They have a good coach. If they can get the quarterback situation figured out, they're going to be fine. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a good game. I think it'll be a close game. I think the Patriots win 20-17 with either a last-second Cam drive or a field goal. But Yeah, I think it's going to be closer than people think. So I'm giving Miami more credit than people are going to. But yeah, it'll be a close game for sure.
Carl touched on it a little bit. Miami spent a ridiculous amount of money in free agency.
They had it though.
Well, they had it.
So they brought in Byron Jones from Dallas, who is an elite corner. My only issue with him is he isn't able to produce turnovers. So when you're a defensive back and you're getting paid,
he's not an elite corner. I never considered him elite corner in Dallas. Never have, never will. No, don't look at him, Biggie. And I've talked about this multiple times. Never have I once considered him an elite corner. What did I say to you, Biggie? What do you need to be an elite corner? You got to turn the ball over.
Okay, I'm just going based off of his non-turnover stats and what he's being paid. He's being paid as an elite cornerback.
Yeah, well, some people get paid. Some people get paid like elite players, but aren't elite players.
Don't.
So is Xavier Howard on the other side of the field from Byron Jones, who's making a ridiculous amount of money too.
Yeah. They brought in Kyle Van Noy from New England, nonetheless, who is an extremely underrated player.
Mm-hmm.
They also brought in Eric Flowers from Washington to help shore up that offensive line, which then they went and took an offensive tackle in the draft. I'll get to that in a minute. Getting Jones and Van Noy was a big get for their defense. Their defense for the past 3-4 years has been abysmal. Flowers is a good piece in that line. And the draft, they got the man they wanted. They got Tua Tagovailoa from Alabama. He's going to be behind Fitzpatrick for the remainder of the season, and I think he should be for the entire season. But that is their future guy. They had 2 other first-round picks due to other teams being morons.
Oh, boy.
Actually, I'm not going to say anything about Ryan. I'm not going to say anything about Minkah Fitzpatrick because Pittsburgh hit that out of the damn park.
Yeah.
Then you got the Texans, and we've already talked about them idiots. They added offensive tackle Austin Jackson from USC. With their
You got this last name, Ian. You've got this last name.
No, I do not. I have no idea how to say this man's name.
Noah Igbenogany.
Yeah, Noah Igbenogany, defensive back from Auburn with their last first-round pick. They also added Matt Breida in the draft during a trade with San Francisco on day 3 to bolster that backfield with Jordan Howard.
One of the fastest running backs in the league.
We've talked about this before, though. Miami, a year ago today, was projected to go 0-16 by Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're being discussed as an 8-8 team. Bright future. For New England, holy turnover. Tom Brady is now in Tampa Bay, as is Rob Gronkowski.
Is that still weird to anybody else?
Yeah, it's very weird.
Weird.
Hey.
We've talked about they lost a lot in free agency. Kyle Van Noy, Jamie Collins, Danny Shelton, etc., etc. They've lost...
And that's the most opt-outs in the league,
Yeah,
too.
they've lost 8 players due to opt-outs, including starting linebacker Dante Hightower, starting tackle Marcus Cannon, starting safety Patrick Chung, and 4 others. We've talked about Jared Stidham. Thank God the Patriots had some common sense, because that dude's bad. Cam Newton signed in July. Stidham's job was as good as gone as soon as Cam put his name on the dotted line. Cam has taken the role in training camp. He's looked great. He hasn't turned the ball over. He's looked healthy. Jared Stidham can't stop him turning the ball over. As we've talked about, even with the opt-outs, this team is going to have the talent to make the playoffs, and I think they're going to make the playoffs as a wild card team. I do think the Bills will win this division.
I agree.
I think the Patriots take this. Miami is young. Pats D, even though they lost a lot, they still have pass rushers, and they still have a guy that's just a tiny bit good named Stephon Gilmore. I think Cam throws for 250 and 3 touchdowns in this game. I think he excels in his debut, and I have the Patriots 31-13.
Come on, dude.
Dolphins too young, man.
I don't know. It's a whole new offense for Cam. I don't know. It's closer for me.
Like you get all the people that like the Patriots have lost, but they still have a very good front four. Their linebackers.
Also, from what I've heard, what made me convinced is the fact that apparently with the play calling with Cam Newton, it's apparent like he said that when he first got there, the playbook like for New England was like calculus. That's what he said.
Yeah.
But they said to the point now where they adapted to his play style, so it's not necessarily the New England way that he has to learn. So I think he can be himself a little bit more.
And that's what you have to do with new players. That's why Belichick is the GOAT right there. He changes the system to make sure his new quarterback is going to succeed. That right there is what makes him the GOAT.
Well, yeah, because he can add in all the special RPO packages and stuff that he could never do with Tom Brady.
If you don't run the RPO in this league, you will not succeed anymore.
I agree.
Agreed,
you just get
100%.
left behind, just the way it is.
Except the Patriots, though.
Yeah, but...
well,
and honestly, I forget which one of you brought up the weapons thing.
That was Dobie.
The Patriots have the same amount of weapons that Cam has had in Carolina for years. And a couple years ago in 2017, when Cam took us to the playoffs with all that ridiculousness at receiver, our starting receiver was Devin Funchess. Julian Edelman is better than that entire receiving core.
I could see that.
I personally thought N'Keal Harry never got a chance to shine last year. So, that's that. All right, game number 4.
Can we go to the worst team in the AFC East?
That's game 8.
Dang it.
Game 4. Hello, Jordan. Hello, Amon. The Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC North powerhouses. Carl, shoot.
Well, just not to mince any words, the Green Bay Packers had the worst draft I've seen in a long time.
Ain't that the truth?
That's not the way to start the offseason. Or, well, not really start the offseason.
Not only was their draft terrible, their free agency was even worse.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I don't know what their plan is. I don't
think they have one.
If their plan was, let's see if we can make Aaron Rodgers really mad so he plays really well, is the plan, that might work.
Could be what they have to do.
But I just don't know what this team's doing. One of the most notable things they did this offseason was sign Rick Wagner and Christian Kirksey, and they re-signed Mason Crosby.
Christian Kirksey's not a bad pickup.
No. And Rick Wagner's a really solid tackle, but Alan Lazard is your wide receiver too.
I literally, and obviously they thought Devin Funchess was going to be there, which he opted out. So, well, I don't understand. I'm going to go into it in a minute. Deepest wide receiver draft class in the last decade, and you don't take one single receiver.
Here's my deal. Love would have been there with their next draft pick, I think.
I agree.
Oh, they're going to have to.
I mean,
he would have been there.
The thing is that the Jordan Love pick isn't even the one that irks me that bad. It's the fact that they drafted a running back, and then they drafted a tight end in the 3rd round that they moved to fullback.
They drafted a fullback in the 3rd round, boys.
When the fullback position is practically dead in the NFL.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, the only fullback that is even used correctly remotely is for the San Francisco 49ers.
Kyle Juszczyk. That man went to Harvard.
Juszczyk, what a guy. That, whatever, Don and Terry Poe decides to line up in there.
Yeah. And Patrick Ricard in Baltimore.
Yep.
But now, on to the other team that plays in this game. Minnesota had 14 draft picks, and they actually used all of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is incredible.
That never happens at this day and time, including taking Justin Jefferson, who I personally thought should have went to Philadelphia, but it's just me. Drafted a corner in Jeff Gladney, also in the 1st. Their biggest signing this offseason was Michael Pierce at defensive tackle, who is not playing because he opted out, which is a big loss. They let Everson Griffin...
Oh, he opted out. I did not know that.
Yeah, Michael Pierce, opted out.
Oof.
They let Everson Griffin walk, signed.
Yeah, we know where he went.
We know.
That's all I have to say.
We know.
You will care when he is just absolutely teabagging your quarterback.
Bro, chill. Why?
Whichever one it may be, Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz.
Why did you have to say that?
He did.
I'm doing this. I ain't even going to say nothing back. I can't.
All right, let's stay on topic,
But
please.
it's too funny.
This man did not just say that.
They signed Anthony Harris to the franchise tag. I don't know why I stuttered, but I did. It's a thing that happened. Personally think Minnesota's going to win this division by quite a bit. But as for this game, I have Minnesota 24-21.
Okay.
I think I don't think Green Bay's going to be in contention for the division this year. I think it's going to be Chicago and Minnesota. I think Green Bay's going to be the third place, and of course the Lions the fourth.
Of course the Lions the fourth. Adam.
Of course the Lions.
I'm pretty sure the Ford family just doesn't want to see the Lions succeed ever. So
Right.
Carl.
Yeah.
Can we crop that one phrase and just send it to Adam?
Send it to Adam. Oh, and of course the Lions in fourth.
All right, sorry, Joey, that was too good.
You're good. But yeah, I just don't think they gave Rodgers any help, and that's what he needed, especially after last year. Even though they got to the NFC Championship, they just got dismantled.
Look at their ass.
And then Minnesota looks really good, really, really good. If they can, I still don't know if I have enough trust in Kirk Cousins to succeed. He had that playoff game against the Saints, but there's the ones before that also too. So I don't know. I think Minnesota's good. The pickup of Justin Jefferson was a very good pickup. I wish the Eagles would have picked him up, but I'm fine with who we picked up. But yeah, and they have Dalvin Cook, and they have a really good defense. Lost Stephon Diggs, but still got Adam Thielen. And a really good tight end. But so I think Minnesota pulls away. I think they win 28-14.
Nice.
I don't know where Buddha went,
Okay.
so I'm gonna go ahead.
That's fine.
Honestly, there's not a lot of turnover between these two teams. It's not from Minnesota. They lost Everson Griffin to Dallas. They traded the Stephon Diggs to Buffalo. They lost Joseph to the Chargers, which is massive now. They lost Trey Waynes to Cincinnati, which is definitely a move Cincinnati really needed.
Mm-hmm. And Mackenzie Alexander.
Yes. They re-signed Cousins to a 2-year, $66 million contract extension.
They also extended Zimmer, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just so everyone knows, that man Kirk Cousins is supposed to be making $44 million next season.
Yeah.
Which is higher than what Mahomes will be making at the peak of this deal.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I think in 5 years, Mahomes' peak of the deal is like $54 million cap hit.
And Buddha's not here, but Dak could do the same if only he wants to leave. And I wish Buddha was here.
I don't. I'm glad you said that when he's not here.
I know.
I ain't trying to have that. They franchise tagged Anthony Harris, and honestly, this is going to be his last year in Minnesota. They just don't got the money.
Right.
Name to watch out for, especially if Minnesota's picking around here. Javon Holland, defensive back safety out of Oregon. He's the best safety in the 2021 draft. I'm not just saying that because he plays for my team. He's actually that good. He has the best. If you look at Pro Football Focus's things, he's got the best grades of any defensive back in that Pac-12. He's like a top 10 grade in the country of all defensive backs, including the two conferences that opted out. So that's a name to watch for teams that need safeties. Obviously, safeties can drop. We saw Xavier McKinney dropped, and sucks to hear he got hurt today.
Yep.
They, as we touched about, they added Justin Jefferson to help replace Diggs. And they are still in talks with Dalvin Cook to try to get him signed long-term, which I do think is eventually going to happen.
It needs to happen. They need to keep him.
If I had to take a guess about money for him, I'm going to say 12-13.
Yeah.
I think the Vikings will pay him a little more than they have room for, but they'll find a way to make it work. He's just too good. Green Bay, we talked about shit show of a draft. Jordan Love in the first round, which honestly, look, I don't like the pick.
It's not a terrible pick.
But it's not terrible, especially considering we all here are in agreement that Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing in a different team in a couple years. A.J. Dillon in the second. If Aaron Jones gets hurt, then it makes a lot of sense. But it's just no. And we talked about the fullback pick. They didn't take one.
Expect this offense to be so much more run heavy than it ever has been under Aaron Rodgers.
They didn't take one receiver. Now, we talked about they signed Christian Kirksey. They did lose Brian Bulaga to the Chargers.
Yeah.
That hurts. But the fact is, even with the off-season turmoil, Rodgers is still here. Devontae Adams is still there. Aaron Jones is still there. And David, how do you say his last name?
What, Bakhtiari?
Yeah. At left tackle, who's one of the best in the game.
I had no clue what we're talking about for a second. I just drew the biggest blank ever.
You're fine. We're all in agreement on the pick so far, actually, because I think Minnesota takes us 27-21.
I don't really think I have anything in here that's going to vary very much on who wins these games between y'all, probably.
Shouldn't.
I think I went pretty chalk with these.
I gotta leave Big E.
All right, brother.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
See y'all.
Take care, man. We'll of course get through. We'll get through this with just us.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Well, here we are.
Just in time, our next game. I'm gonna let you take it because it's your team. Indianapolis Colts at the Crapsonville Jaguars.
The Crapsonville Jaguars. The poor Jaguars. They deserve so much better.
They do. They really do.
They deserve so much better. Why are you going to bring back Doug Marrone?
We're going to do around a lot of things.
Why are you... Oh, my. Tony Khan wanted to own a wrestling...
Actually, no, I'm not going to talk about that because that's the next game after this. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. Indianapolis brought in Phillip Rivers, who, from everything I've heard in camp, is throwing the ball as well as he ever has.
It's crazy what happens when you have a good line.
Right, which is really good to hear. Best line in the league. Draft wasn't a lot of name value, to be completely honest. Best draft pick, Jonathan Taylor, is really at a position we didn't need, per se.
Which is funny because he's going to be the starter by the end of the year.
Going to be the starter probably by about week 4.
I'm a big fan of the Michael Pittman pick.
I am too. I really like that kid. He's going to do really good in our offense. Jacob Eason, round 4.
He will be starting in a couple years.
Value there was off the charts because a lot of people had us taking him in round 2.
Jacoby Brissett, he'll be there until his contract runs out, and the Colts are going to let him walk.
Yep.
Because obviously, look, and I get quarterbacks and stuff, but you don't take a quarterback in the first 4 rounds without plans.
Right. As far as the Jaguars draft, they got C.J. Henderson and Caleb Chason in the first round.
Great picks, by the way.
Great picks. And Laviska Shenault in the second.
Also great pick.
Going to come in and be a really big factor.
And a very underrated pick they picked up later was Colin Johnson, wide receiver from Texas, who is a
massive human being.
There was a game 2 years ago. They were facing USC. It was like the first time they played since the classic Rose Bowl, and he had like 250 yards receiving and like 3 touchdowns. He was.
And Colin Johnson runs at about 6'6". He's the size of a tight end, but runs massive. Like wide receiver.
Red zone nightmare.
Exactly. But no, Jacksonville, they're just not well coached. They're a young team. They're not well coached.
They got holes everywhere.
Gardner Minshew is not a bad quarterback.
But he's not a franchise guy.
Not great. But he's going to win you maybe no games, maybe none.
This is a team, I don't think it'll happen. I think they'll squeak out a win or two, but I will be absolutely shocked if Trevor Lawrence is not wearing these colors by this time next year.
Absolutely. Me too. I think they might win 2 games this season.
On another note, real quick, massive props to North Dakota State's Trey Lance, who does not have to play at all, but he wants to prove himself, and they're playing a exhibition game in September. That's on the fence right now because college football. But against Central Arkansas State or
it's one or the other.
Whoever state's against, props to him. Dedication, passion, can't teach it.
If he doesn't come out and throw like 500 yards, because I wonder how much this team's getting paid to make him look good.
A lot.
It's going to be kind of insane.
Well, what's the crazy thing is he can do whatever he wants. He's still a top 20 pick.
It's not going to matter.
Especially considering the fact that there's a possibility he plays well enough that a team trades up and reaches and goes and grabs him and doesn't take Justin Fields because Fields is going to be off for the entire year.
I can see that, and I'm also I'm under the belief that Trevor Lawrence might not be the first quarterback off the board. It just depends on what system you're looking for.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got with Jacksonville.
Fields is that talented.
Here's the thing with Jacksonville. They don't have a good offensive line.
No, it's bad.
They're not going to have Leonard Fournette because they declined his fifth-year option. Their defense is absolutely asinine, which is crazy even remotely saying that.
Because they had one of the best defenses of all time.
3 years ago. Well, hey, that's what happens when you trade both of the all-pro corners.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back on topic here.
I feel like for this season, this is Indianapolis' division to lose.
100%. It's not even close to me.
And for this game, I have Indy at 24-7, which I think is the biggest blowout that I have for Week 1. But I just don't think Jacksonville has that talent. And I don't think Jacksonville wants to have that talent.
No.
That about sums this game up. There's not a whole lot. The Colts didn't do a whole lot this offseason.
Outside of Phillip Rivers, they really did.
Outside of Phillip Rivers.
Oh, what? DeForest Buckner?
DeForest Buckner.
I almost forgot about him.
Traded the 13th overall pick, which ended up being Javon Kinlaw.
Which San Francisco basically just replaced him, so.
They did. They
worked for them.
Yeah. I think DeForest Buckner is going to – I really feel like we could have a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense this season if we can put it all together. But, yeah, 24-7 Indianapolis, Week 1.
It's fair. All right. Yeah, this isn't going to be close. The talent differential is on two opposite ends of the spectrum. Colts, they improved the quarterback position by bringing in future Hall of Famer, and yes, I think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Famer.
No.
On a 1-year, $25 million deal, which is a lot of money, but the man's a Hall of Famer. Sometimes you got to pay.
But even at current market value, 25 is like middle of the road.
Oh, yeah, so it's not crazy bad. They traded for all-pro defensive tackle DeForest Buckner, two elite players. And yes, when Phillip Rivers is not turning the ball over, he's an elite player. They also added corner defensive back Xavier Rhodes, which if he can find half of what he used to be, and tight end Trey Burton to back up Jack Doyle after losing Eric Ebron to Pittsburgh. Yeah, they nailed the draft picks with Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman Jr. Michael Pittman Jr. is gonna take so much pressure off of T.Y. Hilton, and maybe T.Y. will actually stay healthy for the first time in his career because he doesn't have to do as much.
That'd be fantastic.
With Jonathan Taylor, I won't be shocked if the Colts try to trade Marlon Mack, if I'm being honest with you.
I do agree. He's in a contract year anyway.
So a contending team that may need a running back, which there's a few. Tampa.
Yeah.
God, Marlon Mack with Brady in that offense, please no. But, yeah, I think Mac's not even on this team by the end of the year.
Probably not.
You don't take a running back in the early second round if they're not going to be a starter. I'm sorry. We talked about Jacob Eason. He will be the starting quarterback with this team in about 2 years when Phillip Rivers retires. They got the best line in the game. Quentin Nelson is the best lineman in the game, and it's not even close. On to the Jags. This team sucks.
They're not good.
The tank for Trevor starts, or tank for Fields, or however what direction you want to go. They traded Nick Foles in the offseason to Chicago and retained like 75% of his salary.
And then Chicago reworked that deal and are practically taking no cap hit for it.
Yeah. They traded Calais Campbell to Baltimore for basically nothing, making the Ravens the most stacked roster in the National Football League. They traded both
to Denver.
Yeah, they traded both Jalen Ramsey and AJ Boye last season to Denver and LA specifically. Rams. I got to get used to saying that.
That was weird.
They signed Joe Sherbert from Cleveland to free up Miles Jack to put him back in his natural position. It's not terrible. Sherbert is known for being on the field a lot, but it's not going to help.
He's just a tackle machine.
When you got to go against Phillip Rivers, Deshaun Watson, I'm not saying Tannehill, but Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry more than Tannehill.
That's just disrespectful.
They signed Tyler Eifert, which if he can stay healthy, it might end up being something.
I'm seeing that they're having a really good rapport in camp. Minshew and Eifert, that is.
That doesn't shock me. It's Eifert.
Tyler Eifert can't play more than like 6 snaps without breaking something.
Yeah, it sucks. He was great in Cincinnati for a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
They added Shaquille Quarterman, Colin Jollins, Laviska Shenault, C.J. Henderson. So
offensive linemen.
So they had a pretty solid draft. But Colts 35, Jags 10.
Nice.
Now, I was about to mention David Montgomery, but I was going to wait because this is the Bears-Lions preview. Had a really bad, scary injury. Was carted off. It is just a hamstring. So it's not a knee or a groin or something like that.
Good for him.
He's still going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, though, but it could have been a lot worse for a team that does not have a lot of depth at the running back position.
Those non-contact injuries are always scary.
I'm telling you, Chicago might go shopping for a running back because they don't have a lot.
Freeman.
What?
Devontae Freeman, please.
Devontae Freeman, or honestly, try to go get Royce Freeman from Denver's loaded-ass backfield.
Trade for Marlon Mack.
Marlon Mack in Chicago. My only issue with that is him and Tariq Cohen are like the same player.
Pretty much.
My dad talks about this all the time. It's like Chicago needs a brute.
Yeah. See if the Packers want to trade AJ Dillon.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably. The Rockets and the Thunder both boycotting Game 5.
Ooh.
These NBA playoffs are going to last until January.
Yep. Boycotting Game 5, which, yeah, basically.
Hey, freedom of expression. I'm for it.
Yep. I mean, hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yep.
All right, Chicago, Detroit. For the Bears, last year was a very massive disappointment after a 12-4 season 2 years ago. Bears went out and said, we're done with Mitchell Trubisky. Nick Foles is when and has been the starter since he got there. They also added Robert Quinn, which is a dangerous signing for that defensive line.
Yes. Because you can't continuously double-team Khalil Mack.
Quinn, Mack, Hakeem Hicks. We'll get into them in a minute.
They're one of those weird 3-4 hybrid
ones
defense.
That work.
Yeah.
They added Jimmy Graham, and we'll get to that in 1 second. They also drafted another tight end, Cole Kmet, and Utah defensive back Jalen Johnson, who is extremely underrated. Yeah, they released 2, so now they got 8 tight ends on the roster.
Okay, Ian. After the draft, they had 14 tight ends on the roster.
14, y'all.
14.
What does this make any sense?
14.
I
don't understand how that's a thing.
Bears.
They also drafted a fella named Arlington Hambright, which might be the greatest name I've ever heard in my life.
Facts. Chicago's defense: Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, Kyle Fuller, Roquan Smith, Danny Trevathan, Eddie Jackson, Robert Quinn. It's gonna win them games. It's
gonna win some games.
It's very, very good. Honestly,
I feel like we're building all this up just to crap on the Lions, and I feel so bad for it.
With improvement on offense, this team can make a run at that 7th seed.
I think they could too.
It's just it kind of depends on. Now to the Lions, and Adam, I'm so sorry, my friend, but your team's about to get crapped on. After trading Darius Slay to the Eagles, where they didn't really get back a lot, they weren't stupid and didn't trade out of the pick and took Jeff Okudah out of Ohio State.
Which, best corner in the draft.
By a long amount.
By quite a bit. I like C.J. Henderson, but Jeff Okudah was number one to me.
Also, and just to trigger some people that play in the national champion, that play in the playoff semifinal was definitely a fumble, by the way.
100%.
Yeah.
It wasn't. That's my. So then they come back around and take a running back
to help the fact that they haven't had a good rusher in that backfield since Barry Sanders retired.
Yeah.
They added Jeff Okudah, which we talked about. He will be alongside Desmond Trufant, which Trufant's a good teacher for him. They have potential.
Justin Coleman.
Yeah.
Slot guy.
They
took
DeAndre Swift. He'll be back there with Kerryon Johnson. They could be a good 1-2 punch, but Detroit is not shown.
Bowling ball.
Yeah, you want to know what the Lions' biggest problem is?
Their front office.
Beside that,
their head coach.
Fire Matt Patricia.
There you go. Kind of a common theme that the Bill Belichick coaching tree isn't really a thing.
No, except for Brian Flores.
Yeah, because Josh McDaniels tried to be a head coach.
Oh, also, you want to know what my favorite part is? We're not going to talk about them because they're not on these 8 teams, but Joe Judge.
Yeah.
Okay, Giants.
I didn't even know who that was.
Me either, and that's bad.
And I live football. I have no idea.
Lions brought in Jamie Collins and Danny Shelton, 2 former Patriots.
They have a thing. They really do.
Good signings, by the way.
The Lions and the Patriots are just kind of they just move players.
Always have been.
Yeah.
They also added Chase Daniel to back up Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. I personally think their best pick in the draft was Julian Okwara, the pass rusher out of Notre Dame. His brother already plays there.
Nice.
I'll
tell you one thing: the Lions are good up front and they're good in the secondary. Their linebacking core is worse than the National Football League.
Jared Davis is all you need to know.
I don't even know who that is. So.
Well, he's a coverage linebacker who I'm pretty sure has 50 coverage in Madden. So, there you
go. We talking about 20 or 21?
21, I believe. 21. He's not good.
Okay. Yep. The one thing they do, their defense is a little suspect. But
Matthew Stafford needs help.
If Matthew Stafford can stay healthy, this Lions team will win 7 games.
I agree.
Because Matthew Stafford staying healthy, if the Swift and Kerryon Johnson... Swift might take over the role. Kerryon can't stay healthy. The Lions' offensive line is suspect. But
they're on the outside.
They've got Marvin Jones Jr., who's extremely underrated. And let me tell this as clearly as I can possibly say it. Kenny Golladay is an elite wide receiver.
Yes, he is.
And then they have the potential with T.J. Hawkinson, who had that great first game and then didn't do anything.
It went downhill.
So I think Detroit has promise. I think this game is close.
Yeah.
But it's 2013 Chicago.
I have Chicago 23-13.
pretty close. We have agreeing on everything so far.
And I'm pretty sure we're going to for these last 2 games as well.
Alrighty. Honestly, I think this is the most intriguing game of these 8 because you really don't know what to expect from either of these teams, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to Charlotte to play the massively new-look Carolina Panthers. Floor is yours.
Ooh, what was mine? Well, I'm going to say Las Vegas about 9 times because I'm never going to not call them the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
Ever. Got a pretty new stadium that we won't see until week 2.
Yeah, which
maybe.
Is really weird, by the way. I'm shocked this Vegas isn't opening week 1 at home.
Right. I guess the new stadium in Los Angeles really didn't have a choice but to have a game week 1.
No, considering the Rams are playing the Cowboys.
Yeah, so...
Chargers are playing Bengals. Poor Burrow. He gets to go against that defense.
Right, that's not fair.
Who, by the way, apparently has looked insanely good in practice.
Yeah.
But then people got to remember the Bengals defense is putrid.
That's very true.
So, and the Chargers is not.
The Raiders, off-season,
they didn't really do much.
They didn't do a whole lot, which is weird, because most of the time they sign a lot of players that nobody else wants.
No, the one thing they did, I want to know who in the Raiders front office decided to watch Nelson Aguilar tape and go, we want to sign that dude.
Oh, and then they have 6, 7 draft picks and take 3 wide receivers. One of them being Henry Ruggs, who's really fast.
Yeah, but they had Tyrell Williams, who's already fast. Like, it didn't really make any sense.
And they drafted Damon Arnett at 19, which was an awful pick. I didn't watch a whole lot of Damon Arnett tape, but I didn't have him as a first rounder.
No, well, this is the Raiders who drafted Clinton Farrell at 4 overall last year.
Darius Hayward-Bay is all you ever need to know.
Jamarcus Russell is all you need to know.
Yeah, that's very true. They drafted Tanner Muse, who played safety at Clemson, to play linebacker.
That seems to be a Clemson thing.
Yeah. Of course, the outside linebacker safety are literally the same position half the time anyway now. They didn't do a whole lot of anything transaction-wise in the offseason. They did convince Kyle Emanuel to come back out of retirement, linebacker, to help fill a hole. Now to Ian's team, the Carolina Panthers, who very smartly went straight defense in the draft. Straight defense, top to bottom. Yeah. First pick being Derek Brown. Historically atrocious rush defense last year.
Worst in the history of the National Football League.
Yetur Gross-Matos.
How we got him in the second round is amazing to me.
Right. Back that up with Jeremy Chin, who is going to start for this team somewhere.
Won't shock me if it's at linebacker, but I think he should start at safety.
I do too. Did y'all re-sign Trey Boston?
Yes. 3 years, $30 million, something like that.
Yeah. Troy Pride, corner. Not a bad pick where you got him either. And then another safety and a run stuffer, Embravian Roy out of Baylor. Defense needed help. You went defense. But offensive side of the ball, signed Teddy Bridgewater and Robbie Anderson to help the offense.
Just say something about Teddy. He has looked fantastic in training camp.
From every throw I've seen, Teddy is diming.
Locked in. I'm telling you, and I say this about, the 4-12 thing. If Teddy can stay healthy, this team is a 7-9, 8-8 win thing team, which would be worst case scenario. But
whole new coaching staff, top to bottom.
Whole new coaching staff, and 50% of it has never coached a game in the NFL.
Do you want me to? I'm going to read this exactly the way ESPN has this worded.
All right.
Announced tight end Greg Olsen and the team have agreed to mutually part ways. You forced him out.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm breaking the rule. That is bullshit.
Yeah, you pushed him out because you basically told him that he wasn't going to play anymore. After Luke Kuechly retired, less than a week earlier, 2 weeks earlier. And then March 24th rolls around.
Yeah.
And you release Cam Newton. Ian, what's... Okay. I'm going to give my score prediction. I'm going to let you go to town. Carolina 2013.
All right. I'm glad you didn't pick Vegas because I thought you were going to for a second.
Vegas has Vegas winning by a point.
Well, of course they do.
Vegas has Vegas winning by a point.
Raiders, new look, kind of. New city. Panthers had the most off-season turnover of any team in the NFL. Vegas, first season in their new city. Roster-wise, it's basically the same as last year. They added a lot of veterans. Marcus Mariota, Nelson Aguilar. Why? Jason Witten and Prince Amukamara.
Why?
They didn't really lose a core piece. They added Henry Ruggs III in the draft. He's a speed dude. He'll be great on special teams. Honestly, Vegas has one of the best offensive lines in football, and it never gets talked about.
They do. Since they decided to give Richie Incognito a shot, which a couple years ago shouldn't have been a thing.
Rodney Hudson anchors that line as the best center in the game. Obviously helps when you have a good line when you have a on-the-verge top 5 running back there and Josh Jacobs.
And then a maybe bottom 5 quarterback in Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Well, that's not fair. Derek Carr's not that bad.
Yeah.
He's just not that good.
Raiders issue. The remaining teams in their division are a promising Chargers squad, which let me speak on that right now. Hard Knocks, by the way, if anyone watches it. He won't start, and he shouldn't, but Justin Herbert looks locked in.
He does. Very much so.
So, I have reversed my stance on that. I do think he starts this year at some point. Because, look, I love Tyrod to death, but he can only take you so far.
Yeah.
And this Chargers team has the talent to make the playoffs. Chargers and Raiders' biggest problems is that they're in the division with a rapidly on the rise Denver Broncos team and the defending Super Bowl champions.
And maybe the best quarterback we'll ever see.
I personally think the Raiders by default are the worst team.
I do too, and it's like not even their fault.
No, they're just, they can't draft.
They can't draft. Where's the crap?
All right, Carolina.
Yay.
Fired Ron Rivera 4 games left in the season. I did not agree with it. Should have let him finish it out. They pissed off a lot of their locker room by doing so. Hence why half that locker room is gone.
Yeah.
They lost Cam Newton. Still not a fan. I accepted the fact that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
The way they went about it is what pisses me off. They lost both of their defensive and offensive coordinators, which defensive coordinator, thank God. Offensive coordinator was Norv Turner's son, who's now Washington's offensive coordinator.
Scott.
Yeah. Greg Olson, which we talked about. Luke, who is now he is now as a professional scout in our scouting department.
Perfect.
And safety Jeremy Chin says the first thing he does every day when he gets into the building is go into the scouting department of the stadium and talk to Luke for like an hour just to pick his brain on film.
Smart.
They lost James Bradbury to free agency, which was to be expected. He wanted too much. Lost Mario Addison in free agency, who has been our best pass rusher over the last 5 years, to Buffalo. Trey Turner, we're not going to talk about that.
Oh, boy.
One of the worst trades of the offseason.
Come on now. Russell Okung, man.
Matt Rule came in. He brought Joe Brady from LSU, who was the passing game coordinator. They brought in Phil Snow from Baylor to be the defensive coordinator, which I don't know how I feel about bringing in a defensive coordinator from the Big 12.
But you know.
New additions, Teddy Bridgewater, Robbie Anderson, Russell Okung, Eli Apple, who has looked impressive in training camp, might I add. Tahir Whitehead, who came from Vegas.
He did.
The draft, as you said, they went all defense. Derek Brown, Gross Matos, and Jeremy Chin are pretty much the three big ones that are all going to be making impacts. They have a promising core with Robbie Anderson and our two main receivers, Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore, who is quickly becoming a very elite receiver. And it also helps when you got the best running back in the game standing behind you.
All $16 million worth of
Yep,
it.
signed an extension in the offseason. It's going to be getting $16 million. It's a lot of money, but that's what happens when you put on a 1,000 season.
Didn't really have much of an option.
Offensive line still needs a crap ton of work. Taylor Moton and Curtis Samuel are both up for contracts at the end of this year, and I love Curtis, but Taylor Moton needs to be signed ASAP.
I agree.
It's got to stop letting your best lineman walk for nothing. Really starting to irritate me. This game is either way, but Carolina's got more talent, is the better team, and I think they win 24-17.
Nice.
To our final game of this week. I'll go through the 8 matchups after this for next week. We're going to talk about the dungeon, as I like to call them, of the AFC East, and the favorite in the AFC East, the New York Jets at the Buffalo Bills.
All right. I'm not going to waste a terrible amount of time on the Jets because they're bad. They're very bad. Le'Veon Bell is already complaining about the amount of carries he's getting in training camp.
Of course he is.
Training camp. Carries in training camp. He's complaining. I'm
not going to say it, but you know what I'm talking about in the fantasy league, as Adam calls him.
Yeah. They drafted decently well. They got a massive human being in Mekhi Becton.
Yeah.
The tackle. All 6'8".
He runs a 4.5 40, by the way.
Yeah. Denzel Mims in the second was a really good pick.
Green Bay should have took him.
Green Bay should have taken him. And then they just kind of filled holes that they didn't really have. Biggest story of this offseason was them trading Jamal Adams.
To Seattle for a lot.
For a lot.
But, we've talked about this. Seattle's going to be on Championship Sunday, so they're going to be like 29-30 picks anyway.
Yeah, it's not going to matter. And Seattle doesn't draft well ever anyway.
No, who really doesn't draft well? New York Jets.
Yeah. Took Ashton Davis in the third. Drafted LaMichael Pirine in the fourth. Their best pick, as far as value goes, is Bryce Hall out of Virginia in the fifth. Who the only reason he fell that far is because he has injury concerns.
Well, it wasn't really a concern. He just got badly hurt on a play he shouldn't have been in the game for.
Right. But now, to Buffalo. One of these teams that they didn't really have a whole lot of holes, especially on defense. They're one of the best defenses in the league. They somehow managed to draft A.J. Epineza in the second round, midway through the second round. Took a running back, power back to complement Devin Singletary, who's a very small man. He's only like 5'7", 200 pounds, something like that. Drafted Jake Fromm out of Georgia to back up Josh Allen. And got maybe the best kicker in the draft in Tyler Bass. That about sums up the Buffalo Bills draft. They didn't do anything special. They just kind of filled holes where they needed to. Their biggest move of the offseason was, of course, trading Stephon Diggs. Or trading for Stephon Diggs from the Vikings.
Finally give Josh Allen that number one target.
Yeah, give him somebody to throw the ball to.
He's going to get the ball a lot, too.
Oh, yeah, he's going to see a ton of targets.
Curious to see him against Stephon Gilmore.
Right.
In those extremely crucial games.
As you mentioned previously. They're just one of those teams that are maybe they're probably looking at themselves as being 1-2 steps away from making it, and I do think they win the division this year. Kind of more by default because they weren't bad last year, and I think the
Patriots 10-6 last year.
I think they take a little bit of a step back. The Patriots do, so I think the Buffalo Bills win the division this year. The Jets are bad. They're going to be picking in the top
5,
6, 7 again, probably.
I've got them in the top 5.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either.
I've got
the NBA has officially postponed their playoff games.
I've got top 5: Jacksonville, Washington, both of the New York teams, and the Bengals. I think Carolina's from 10 to 12. Yeah. I think they're vastly improved.
Yeah. They signed their head coach, Sean McDermott, to a multi-year extension, which is a great signing.
Then you got the Jets head coach.
No.
Adam Gase.
We don't talk about Adam Gase around here. All right, now that I'm done crapping on the Jets because they're one of my least favorite teams in the league. Buffalo 28-13.
Yeah, there's the spectrum again. Opposite sides. Bills are finally poised to make a run for the AFC East, and I feel happy for them because they deserve it. Jets are picking top 5. Again. Start with the Jets. They lost Robbie Anderson in free agency along with 3 offensive linemen, which Sam Darnold's probably like, are you serious?
I mean, and the linemen they lost weren't even that great to begin with. Now they have less talent.
They added Becton and Denzel Mims in the first 2 rounds of the draft. They did add Greg Van Roten and Connor McGovern to help Darnold out. Darnold is just inconsistent.
Yeah, Sam Darnold's not bad.
No, he just doesn't have help.
Yeah, he just doesn't know where to throw the ball to.
What's the Jets' main problem? Le'Veon Bell just needs to shut his diva mouth and actually start producing on the field.
Just run the ball. When 97-year-old Frank Gore looks better than you in training camp,
yeah,
you have a problem.
Even though Frank Gore is a top 3 running back of all time, but
absolutely.
As far as Buffalo, best top 3 defense in the league.
No.
Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, who's set to make a 30-year jump. He's really got to improve his passing numbers, though. They
can't hit the broadside of a barn.
Yeah, they added Diggs, and I have it in here, a load of former Carolina Panthers, which isn't shocking, by the way, considering their head coach and their GM were former in our organization.
Yeah.
Mario Addison, A.J. Klein, Josh Norman, who is hurt, Darrell Williams, why would you ever do that? And Vernon Butler, even more of a why would you ever do that? They didn't lose much of anything. They added A.J. Epinenza and Zach Moss in the draft, both really good picks. Ed Oliver, Tremaine Edmonds, Tre'Davious White, and Micah Hyde are the 4 stars on the defense. Buffalo, another great season. This game, stop. Bills 38, Jets 6.
Oh, man.
I do not like the New York Jets.
I don't think anybody does.
To go through our games for next week, don't know when. We'll figure that out.
Figure it out.
More than likely, it's probably going to be us two.
Probably.
We've got the Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Seattle at Atlanta, which is a very interesting game.
Mm-hmm.
Chargers at the Bengals. Cardinals at the 49ers. The main game of Week 1, Tampa Bay at New Orleans.
Yeah.
Dallas at Los Angeles, Rams. The Steelers at the Giants. And the Titans at the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
See. Any news of the week stuff we missed?
Not really.
Oh. Wow. Earl Thomas. I'm an idiot. got into an issue with former Virginia Tech safety Chuck Clark, and the Ravens front office said, "See ya, wouldn't want to be ya."
Yeah, apparently he was having a lot of character issues since he'd been there and showing up late for meetings. And
what I find funny is that Ian Rappaport reported that Dallas had no interest, and then Jerry Jones snapped back at him. And apparently some people in the Cowboys organization don't know what Jerry's doing. I still think Earl Thomas ends up at Dallas.
I don't see a situation where he's not going to go to a team that's not going to win.
The only competition Dallas has is Cleveland, because they just lost Grant Delpit to a season-ending Achilles injury. But Cleveland, with Earl Thomas, Baker, Odell Beckham, way too many egos on that team.
Still going to win 4 games. All the talent in the world. 6 games.
Yeah. So, yeah, Carl mentioned the Bucks, Magic, Rockers, Thunder, Lakers, Blazers Game 5s are all postponed due to the boycott over events going on.
Which is the right decision by the NBA. It's the only decision that they had to make.
Yep. The Seahawks brought in Paul Richardson and Justin Britt for tryouts today.
Oh, and the San Francisco 49ers have tried out every receiver that ever played football ever.
Yeah, because they don't have anything at receiver.
Yes, they have none.
Texans have brought in Cody Kessler, CJ Procise, whatever his stupid name is, Ryan Grant, and John Halipio for tryouts.
Nice.
FFY, I'm going down the NBA update Twitter notifications.
No, the craziest thing about this season is that teams are bringing people in for tryouts and the season kicks off in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Also, some news for college football. Virginia Tech NC State was scheduled for September 12th. NC State has had a rampant cases of COVID-19, so that game is being pushed back to the 26th of September. Why the ACC isn't just starting with the Big 12 and the SEC still makes no sense.
I don't see a situation where college football is going to happen.
Oh, I think it's going to start.
I do too, and we're going to get about maybe a game in, and then it's over.
Which, if Tech beats Virginia and the season ends, we still get our trophy back. So,
yes.
Yeah, Tech opening with Virginia on September 19th in Lane Stadium. Really, really weird.
An empty Lane Stadium.
Yeah. Can you imagine that Tech Clemson game if they were fans?
Oh, my.
Also, shout out to Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee, the GOAT.
My man looked great at NXT TakeOver 30 against Adam Cole Bebe in a losing effort.
Looked spectacular, honestly.
Yeah, it was great. Also, speaking of Pat, he got kicked out of an NBA virtual fan last night.
Oh, I don't even know how you do that.
No, he took his shirt off.
Well, I mean...
It's Pat.
Well, yeah, but do you not see what's happening at the WWE events with all this Thunderdome stuff?
We're not going to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to talk about the things that these fans are doing.
Yeah, they're ruining it for everybody else. Yeah, I mentioned earlier, if you're drafting fantasy, don't be like us and draft 3 weeks before the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we get into the season and we have to do results and previews in one podcast. There's not really much.
I'm going to cry.
There's really not much we can. I mean, we're not going to go into detailed depth that we're going into today and next week. But there's not much we're going to be able to do to prevent it from being 2 hours.
No. I mean, moving forward, no.
But honestly, this is what we've been looking forward to, breaking down these games. All of us are in agreement for the first 8.
It's probably going to change next week, I imagine.
Yeah, especially with Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Seattle, Atlanta, Cleveland, Baltimore.
Let's not even talk about how stacked the NFC is.
What? Seattle, Green Bay, Minnesota, New Orleans, Atlanta, Tampa, Seattle, San Francisco. I think I already said. Yeah. AFC is Kansas City, Baltimore. Everybody else is about 10 feet under.
Probably.
Here's the thing. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
MVP. Who wins?
MVP of the league this year?
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes.
I think Aaron Donald gets it.
Oh, that's going to be... I can see it. I mean...
I think Aaron Donald could break the sack record. And if he breaks the sack record...
I think he could break the sack record and get one MVP vote.
Yeah, I know. Comeback player of the year, Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers.
Actually, no, scratch that. Alex Smith.
Yeah, if Alex Smith plays, I would
Which I think he's going to.
I do too.
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Ooh.
Mine is Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I'm leaning that way, too, just because I don't think any of the other guys are going to get that much of a snap share. Especially... No, I'm going to go Joe Burrow.
Defensive Rookie of the Year. This is easy. So for me, it is
Young.
Chase. NFC Offensive Player of the Year.
Ooh. I'm going to go Tom Brady.
I like it. Side note, Christian McCaffrey should have been NFC Offensive Player of the Year last year and not Michael Thomas, but...
Ian, your Saints bias or unbiased is showing again.
I don't care. AFC Offensive Player of the Year. I got Lamar.
If I got Patrick, I don't understand how they do that. Like, in theory, it would have to be Patrick Mahomes too, since he's the most valuable player in the league.
So if we take Joe Burrow and Chase Young, who wins Rookie of the Year straight out?
Ooh. I'm going to say they're going to give it to the quarterback, just because it's a quarterback. So
yeah. Coach of the Year.
Ooh.
This one's tough.
I really feel like Frank Reich could win Coach of the Year.
I do too, especially if the Colts win the division and get into the playoffs with a 10-11 win team.
Can we just talk about for a second how we almost had Josh McDaniels, but he decided he didn't want to coach us?
Thank God.
Right.
That's how I feel about, well, I won't talk about that.
No.
The bad thing is you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Ooh.
I know. We need to stop that. We need to stop. Oh.
That's a mood, though.
It really is.
So, yeah, we broke it down for the first 8 games. Podcast will be up on YouTube in about a couple hours. It's always available on Spotify and any other place you can find podcasts, except for Apple Music, because we don't do that around here. Those are the first 8 games. We did have everybody here, but it really got down to the fact that it was just us two.
We really had everybody for about 5 minutes.
But yeah, it's going to do it for episode 13, which is crazy to say that we're almost 15 episodes in. Episode 14 will be next week, and that will be breaking down the remaining 8. And then the next one after that will be 15, and that's where we're going to be breaking down the week 1 games. So after episode 14, we'll probably go a week and a half without an episode. But to me, there's no point in doing an episode the day of the opener.
No, there's no point.
So episode 15 will be covering the actual game results. Be prepared, that's going to be 2 hours.
Yeah. And moving forward, we may just actually have to set a set day.
Here's the thing, though. It's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday. It's going to be a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because we can't do it on Monday, obviously, because Monday Night Football, and Thursday because of Thursday Night Football. So
get used to hearing a whole lot of me and Ian's voice.
Yep, get used to it, because you're going to be hearing us a lot, because...
Our other boys are going to get educated.
Get educated. They're being smart. They're being smart fellas. But yeah, that's going to do it for episode 13. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Boyz the Podcast. This is Big E. That is Carl. We will see y'all next week. The Boyz out.